In Ernisia, a blue-haired woman's prayer upholds peace.
Suddenly, the sky fills with falling stars, causing confusion.
People in white robes celebrate a divine revelation, the saint's birth.
A newborn with blue hair is blessed to grow strong.
The scene shifts to the grand Annecy Castle.
A glimpse of elegant, flowing blue hair.
Squeeze, a nervous blue-haired woman, sits upon a throne.
An uncomfortable silence fills the grand hall.
The blue-haired woman stammers, trying to start a conversation.
A dark-haired man questions her, and she happily explains she was baking. He seems disinterested.
She proudly presents almond cream pie, his favorite treat.
She explains she had them made bite-sized for him.
He dismissively tells her to leave them there.
She suggests they see a new flower together, but he sighs and deflects with, "next time."
Her smile fades as she quietly agrees.
Alone, she wonders how their relationship became so cold.
This is the saint of the kingdom of Ernisia. Her name is Kate Anderson, her blue hair a divine symbol.
Kate believes her sacred hair is meaningless if Gilbert doesn't love her.
From birth, the saint was destined to marry into the royal family, and Kate was engaged to Prince Gilbert. She recalls when he stopped meeting her gaze, wondering where it all went wrong.
His eyes are described as divinely cold.
A soft gasp escapes her lips. She inwardly squeals with delight over his coldness.
Gushing over his beauty, Kate is startled when Gilbert asks what's wrong, and she hastily denies anything.
Gilbert gives her a confused look. Twitch. She blushes, finding even his frown charming.
She clenches her fist, determined even if he hates her.
The truth is, Kate is obsessed with Gilbert's handsome face.
Looking at his portrait, Kate acknowledges her saint status is the only reason she's still his fiancée.
Remembering he dismissed her, she watches as an attendant offers to escort her away.
Clutching his portrait, she fears their engagement ending but refuses to be broken by it.
Because he despises her, she gets to enjoy his icy expressions up close, a preference noted as quite unique.
Rustle, rustle. A maid bursts in, urgently calling for Lady Kate.
Kate asks the breathless maid, Alice, what's wrong? Alice announces a new saint has appeared from another world, stunning Kate.
Sunlight streams into a quiet room.
A white-haired woman stirs in her sleep. She dreams of her time with Gilbert and Kate. Her dream shifts to memories of other people.
Waking to a voice, the white-haired woman gasps in shock, realizing it was her own. A brown-haired woman and an orange-haired man greet Kai, the white-haired woman. Kay, now dressed in an apron, quickly apologizes.
A brown-haired woman teases Kay about her sleeping face, mentioning a smartphone, which confuses Kay as she notices some unique bread.
The brown-haired woman, Sakura, proudly presents her special croissant.
The orange-haired man explains the name's meaning as Kay delights in the smell, while Sakura seems thoughtful. Sakura notes the shop lacks sweetbread, musing how popular it would be. The orange-haired man ponders this, having only ever considered bread for meals.
Kay realizes that with her baking knowledge, she might be able to help.
She suddenly recalls the almond pastries from her past.
A brown-haired woman exclaims, "That's it," startling a white-haired woman beside her. Her idea is to combine Key's specialty almond cream pie with her own special croissant to make a croissant aux amandes. Kay and the orange-haired man look on, thoroughly confused. Although bewildered, Key agrees to make the almond cream when Sakura eagerly asks if she can do it now.
Heart skip. Kay confidently declares the recipe is ingrained in her body, which Sakura finds incredibly charming.
A close-up reveals the glistening, freshly baked almond croissants.
Kay and Sakura gaze proudly at their finished creation.
The orange-haired man remarks on the irresistible buttery aroma as people outside are drawn to the bakery. Sakura declares it's time for a taste test. As Key takes the first bite, The others watch in anticipation.
The scene transitions with a title card reading Escaping from Thee.
Elsewhere, the dark-haired Prince Gilbert looks off, noting a familiar feeling.
He muses that sometimes Kate seems to drift off, lost in thought.
He believes she must be thinking about the peace of her people.
He sees Kate as a pure saint, resolving to hide his own impure feelings from her. Gilbert recalls wanting to stay with her longer, while an attendant offers to escort him away.
Kate curtsies formally, thanking His Highness for their time together. His blonde-haired attendant reminds him of the tradition for saints to marry royalty, while Gilbert considers the belief that black hair signifies greater power. The attendant notes that an engagement to the girl from another world might have been announced before Kate's. However, he continues, after the official appraisal, the girl was found to have no saintly abilities, only brute strength and a loud voice.
The attendant recalls how Gilbert rushed to the king and boldly declared Kate as his only wife, much to the attendant's slight embarrassment. Gilbert sighs in frustration, remembering how his father teased him endlessly for that outburst, wishing he'd just gone straight to Kate instead.
The blonde-haired attendant smiles knowingly.
In the memory, Gilbert approaches his father, the king.
He states firmly that no matter how powerful a saint is, he will only ever love one woman. He declares with conviction that Kate Anderson is his only wife. The attendant recalls the determined look on the prince's face. He smiles to himself, wishing Lady Kate could have witnessed that moment. The attendant finds Gilbert's straightforwardness amusing, while Gilbert decides to move on.
Determined, Gilbert announces he's going to find Kate immediately.
The attendant coolly states that would be a problem. As Gilbert looks back in confusion, his attendant reminds him of the duties he postponed for Lady Kate. He reveals a towering stack of paperwork that is piled up.
Gilbert stares in horror at the mountain of documents.
The attendant cheerfully announces they'll be spending a lovely time together tonight, much to Gilbert's dismay. The scene shifts to the castle towers against a starry night sky. At the bakery, a woman greets an older lady named Eleanor. The woman explains they don't need a delivery, as her husband already visited, which Eleanor finds unusual. The woman smiles warmly, ready to explain.
She says her husband was drawn in by a delicious smell on his walk, making her curious too.
A sign in front of the bakery announces the new product, Croissant d'Amande. Inside, Kei and Sakura nervously invite the customer to try their new creation. Suddenly, the bakery is flooded with customers ordering the new pastry. Kei is shocked, but the orange-haired man explains this morning rush is unusual. Sakura beams with pride, presenting the almond croissants to the eager crowd.
A customer tells her the sweet smell filled the street all morning, and he couldn't wait for the store to open.
Sakura graciously thanks the happy customers. Kei watches in admiration, thinking Sakura is amazing. She marvels at how Sakura is not only a great baker, but also a natural at handling customers.
Shaking her head, Kei hardens her resolve, thinking that she can't be scared now that she's living outside the castle.
A man welcomes Kei to the bakery and asks to place an order. Kei nervously apologizes for her inexperience but promises to do her best. A customer kindly tells her there's no need to be so formal. As Kei stands beside a smiling Sakura, another customer advises her to relax. Kei and Sakura happily serve the new croissants to a crowd of customers. After the rush, Sakura celebrates their success as Eleanor, her grandmother, arrives, confirming the pastries are the talk of the town. Sakura excitedly declares their pastry will go viral, confusing Kei with modern slang before turning to greet a new customer. A man with light gray hair enters the shop, surprising both Sakura and Kei. Sakura recalls helping the same man when he was injured on the road. She asks about his injury, and he confirms he's fully recovered, surprised to see them here.
As Key explains to the orange-haired man how they met, Sakura asks the visitor if he's here for the croissants. He says no.
The man asks if this is the shop that sells Dragon Slayer bread.
The bakers are baffled, so the man recounts the legend of a dragon attack and the mage who saved the town.
He explains a bread was made in the mage's honor, and Sakura points to a specific loaf.
The wing-shaped bread is revealed to be a protective charm called an amulet.
Sakura is surprised by the bread's meaning as the man says he's had his own troubles with dragons. The orange-haired man reminds him of a meeting. Remembering his schedule, the man decides to buy 3 of the amulet breads.
As a thank you, he then offers to buy all their remaining new croissants.
Sakura is stunned by the size of his order.
He explains that sharing the bread in other towns will be great publicity.
Sakura and the orange-haired man are overjoyed and eagerly accept his offer.
The orange-haired man gives a thumbs up as their generous customer departs.
A voice notes that Clive is all about the money.
Elsewhere, a passing man observes that Eleanor's bakery is unusually lively today.
His companion adds that she heard the new bread is delicious and 2 beautiful new girls are working there.
The man, whose face is unseen, considers visiting the bakery tomorrow.
The blonde-haired woman with him pauses in silent thought.
Driving a cart out of town, the gray-haired customer reflects on his surprise at meeting the 2 girls again. He smiles warmly, continuing on his journey. He muses that he heard someone of high status with a sweet tooth might enjoy commoner's food. The thought is directed at a stressed-looking Prince Gilbert, busy with his work. A flashback shows Kei and Sakura smiling as they serve their popular croissants.
Later, Sakura finds Kei in her room surrounded by her belongings and asks what she's doing.
Kei explains she is gathering items to sell at a pawn shop to earn her own money. Sakura realizes she completely forgot their original plan to sell their things. She decides to start by selling small accessories to avoid suspicion.
Sakura reassures a concerned Key that it's fine, as the jewelry was just sitting unused in a drawer.
Sakura's eyes widen as she spots a particular item among the accessories. She picks up a box containing a beautiful blue gemstone bracelet. Gasp! Kei panics, lunging to snatch the bracelet back and shouting, "Not that one!"
Startled by her own outburst, Kei blushes in embarrassment.
She clutches the bracelet and timidly apologizes, asking if she can keep it.
Sakura smiles knowingly, realizing the bracelet's significance.
She correctly guesses that the bracelet was a gift from Gilbert.
Key admits that Sakura sees right through her.
Sakura dramatically apologizes for touching something so important and says she deserves to be kicked by a horse, thoroughly confusing Kei. Still on the floor, Sakura continues her over-the-top performance. She thinks to herself with a sly grin that the bracelet flag has been triggered. As Kei sits quietly, Sakura's thought concludes that the prince's appearance is imminent. Kei looks completely lost, wondering what a flag is. At the palace, a haggard Prince Gilbert looks utterly exhausted. Slumped over his desk, Gilbert tells his attendant Joshua he can't take it anymore and must find Kate. Joshua calmly insists they're almost done, prompting Gilbert to call him a demon. Joshua presents an urgent report. He reveals a dragon has appeared in the town of Misha, shocking Gilbert. Joshua recalls that Misha was saved from a dragon years ago by a magician who has since disappeared. He continues that the dragon attacked a merchant on the highway. Gilbert anxiously asks if the man is all right. Joshua confirms the merchant was saved by a passing girl who happened to have a high-grade potion. Worried about the dragon's power, Gilbert resolves to send a subjugation team immediately to protect the town. Joshua pivots to a popular new pastry in Misha, earning a glare from Gilbert for his misplaced priorities. He explains the merchant brought the pastry, and after a food taster raved about it, he preserved it with magic for Gilbert, knowing his love for sweets.
As the almond croissant is presented, Gilbert dismisses it until a familiar scent catches his attention.
Gilbert lunges toward the plate, inhaling the captivating aroma, as Joshua smugly notes he knew it would work.
Startled, Gilbert utters Kate's name, making Joshua fear he's overworked the prince into madness, until Gilbert shouts, "That's not it."
He explains the pastry has the same aroma as Kate's pie, but Joshua is skeptical, thinking most pastries smell alike. A memory reveals Kate's special almond cream, which contains kirsch for a uniquely elegant fragrance.
After one bite, Gilbert confirms it's Kate's recipe, remembering how she always preferred to eat it once it had cooled.
Gilbert urgently asks Joshua to repeat the details from the merchant's report. Recalling the passing girl with a high-grade potion, Joshua has a sudden realization about its rarity and power. He concludes that Kate must have been the one to heal the merchant's wounds herself. With newfound resolve, Gilbert declares they will head to the town of Misha to investigate the dragon. Standing tall, he commands Joshua to prepare for their departure immediately.
Gilbert vows to find her as the scene shifts to Kay working peacefully in the bakery.
A quiet moment focuses on Kay's lips.
Key lets out a small sneeze, covering her mouth.
Sakura asks if she has a cold, but Key assures her she's fine.
With the shop quiet, Kay wonders if she'll forget the palace, just as Sakura calls her name.
Sakura stands at the counter with a determined look. Key turns, surprised by her friend's sudden intensity.
As Key asks what's wrong, Sakura gushes with excitement over the prospect of her reuniting with her beloved fiancé.
Sakura's expression turns serious as she gives Kay one critical instruction: do not tell him your real name.
She warns that if Kay confirms her identity to Gilbert, she'll be married immediately, an outcome imagined in a fantasy panel.
This, Sakura insists, leads to a loveless marriage bad end, a thought that horrifies them both.
Pleading, Sakura begs Kay not to reveal her name, saying the emotional damage would be too great.
Key reluctantly agrees, then cheerfully decides to go sweep outside.
Dismissing Sakura's dramatics, Kay thinks there's no way Gilbert would come here until she sees his attendant, Joshua, on the street. Her eyes widen in pure, unadulterated shock.
Key recognizes Lord Joshua, who is asking for directions to a bakery on his master's orders.
The realization hits her: if Joshua is here, then that means... Gilbert's voice cuts in, asking if Joshua found the bakery as he walks into view. Kay's heart pounds as she stares, completely captivated. She clutches her dress, overwhelmed by the sudden reunion. Face to face at last, Key panics, realizing how long it's been since she's seen his face or heard his voice. Staring at Gilbert's stunning features, Key finds herself unable to look away. He softly calls her name, Kate, and she looks up, startled and blushing. Acknowledging her different hair color, Gilbert asks if she is Kate Anderson, while Sakura watches anxiously from the doorway. Behind them, Sakura frantically shakes her head, silently pleading with Kay to deny it. Flustered, Key lies that her name is Key Scrine, leaving Gilbert momentarily confused by the unfamiliar name. Key lets out a shaky breath, flushed with relief and nerves. Gilbert kneels and gently takes her hand, his expression soft and sincere. He confesses he came from the capital after falling in love with the croissant's taste, then introduces himself as Mulder, and Key instantly realizes he's using his middle name. The white-haired girl blushes, whispering Lord Mulder's name. The dark-haired man stares in wide-eyed shock. A brown-haired girl interrupts, pushing the dark-haired man away from the white-haired girl and announcing the shop is now closed. The dark-haired man looks on, a bead of sweat on his face as he thinks about the girl. The brown-haired girl, Sakura, pushes the couple apart, forcing herself to stay strong and not just bask in their glory. The dark-haired man pleads to at least talk, but the girl assures him it will be fine.
With a confident wink, she tells him to trust her.
She cheerfully shoos him away, promising to see him tomorrow. Slam! The bakery door is shut in his face.
Standing outside, the dark-haired man is speechless, while his blonde attendant notes the situation.
Inside, Sakura reassures the white-haired girl.
The white-haired girl sighs, relieved to be safe. The dark-haired man looks determinedly at the sky, thinking about tomorrow.
He realizes the girl was Kate and excitedly calls for Joshua.
His attendant, Joshua, confirms it was Kate and notes that she chose not to reveal her identity.
The dark-haired man muses on how well Kate's new silver hair and simple clothes suit her, prompting a sarcastic reply from Joshua.
Addressing Joshua, he declares that tomorrow he will be Mulder, a simple man in love with a baker's daughter. He eagerly anticipates their meeting, wondering if he should bring flowers, as Joshua looks on with weary amusement.
Joshua sighs, deciding to let it be.
He smiles, thinking that at last his master is openly expressing his love for Lady Kate.
Kate holds her blushing face, realizing Lord Gilbert actually let her call him Mulder.
Sakura lies in bed, giddy with excitement at seeing her favorite couple together in person. Wah! She suddenly bolts upright, remembering Gilbert is coming back tomorrow and there's no time to get lost in the moment.
Kate worries about what to wear, and Sakura shouts her name, pointing out that she's slipping back into her formal way of speaking.
Sakura explains the plan. Gilbert is coming as Mulder to ask Kei out on a first date, which leaves Kate stunned.
Sakura continues, predicting he'll choose the most popular cafe and warning Kate not to reveal her real name to avoid a bad ending. Looking nervous, Kate agrees to the plan.
She blushes at the thought of a cafe date with Lord Gilbert, feeling like it's a dream come true. Sakura asks Kate what she likes most about Gilbert, and Kate thoughtfully considers her answer.
With a bashful but certain expression, Kate declares that she loves his face.
She gushes that just admiring his face makes her glad she was born a saint, then apologizes for being improper, but Sakura insists she understands completely. Sakura recalls how the game praised his looks, admitting she's never seen anyone so handsome. Kate confesses she never thought she could admit to liking someone just for their appearance.
Kate expresses surprise that Sakura accepts it so easily, and Sakura replies that people fall in love for many reasons.
Sakura enthusiastically adds that she loves good-looking characters too, which confuses Kate.
Realizing her slip-up, Sakura quickly clarifies that she loves them as her favorite couple.
Kate fondly remembers being by Lord Gilbert's side since they were children, feeling joy as she watched him grow into a strong man.
Sitting on her bed, Kate reflects thoughtfully. The next morning, the bakery is bustling as Sakura and another girl happily serve 3 croissants d'amande. Kate holds a tray of croissants, admitting she was too restless to sleep but must focus, when Clive calls out to her. Clive kindly offers to take over the shop so she can get ready for her plans, much to her surprise. He smiles, explaining that Sakura told him this was for a happy ending, and though he doesn't understand, he'll cheer her on. Kate checks her reflection, wondering if her outfit is okay, and remembering Eleanor helped re-dye her hair as she touches the bracelet on her wrist. She remembers the bracelet was a gift from Lord Gilbert. Deciding to leave the bracelet for now, she's suddenly startled when a voice announces she has a visitor, though it's earlier than expected. Gilbert stands outside, smiling warmly as a flustered Kate greets him as Lord Mulder. He apologizes for arriving early, unable to wait. Kate reassures him it's fine, while their friends secretly cheer them on from the bushes. Looking at her intently, he asks if she would spend some time having tea with him. Overjoyed, Kate thinks to herself that he really invited her to a cafe, just as Sakura predicted. In a brief memory, a somber Gilbert sits alone.
Kate's eyes widen as she wonders what she should do now.
A white-haired girl knows his gentle gaze is for Kay, not her. A bouquet of roses appears as a voice calls out for Kay. The dark-haired man then asks, "Will you marry me?" Utterly stunned, the teary-eyed girl can only ask, "Huh?" The story's title is revealed, Escaping from My Broken Engagement to the Prince. Elsewhere, a blue-haired girl learns that a new saint has appeared from another world. Her heart pounds at the thought of a visitor from another world. She questions the news of a new saint, clutching her book tightly. Her maid explains a black-haired girl in strange clothes suddenly appeared at the temple. This new arrival is described as a person fully blessed by the gods. The prince is seen standing with the new black-haired girl. An ancient text explains that by divine will, worlds sometimes intersect. Those who arrive from other worlds are said to possess advanced knowledge or exceptional talents. Their unique skills are depicted through various arts. Each newcomer has brought invaluable gifts to this world. The blue-haired girl, Kate, realizes this new girl must have a purpose. Kate panics, jumping to the conclusion that the new saint is a replacement because Lord Gilbert despises her. As her maid tries to calm her, Kate makes a decision. She's running away.
She tells her maid Alice not to stop her, determined to act quickly.
She tearfully imagines being cast aside, her engagement to Lord Gilbert broken. A quiet moment focuses on her clasped hands and the cross she wears. Declaring there's no time to waste, she grabs a suitcase and rushes to her wardrobe. She hesitates, fearing that seeing Lord Gilbert now would be too painful. She imagines him angrily shouting that he's breaking their engagement. For a brief moment, she thinks that might be nice, but Alice's voice snaps her back to the horrifying reality.
Alice offers to arrange a meeting with Gilbert, but Kate panics and tries to stop her as she runs off.
Left alone, she cries, questioning why she was ever chosen to be the saint. A memory surfaces of her happily calling for her father as a child. A single tear falls from her closed eye. The scene shifts to a bright, clear sky. In a flashback, a young Kate is reading in a garden when a voice calls her name. A cheerful young Gilbert calls out that he's found her. Young Kate looks up from her book, delighted to see Lord Gilbert. He affectionately calls her a bookworm, and she happily agrees. She gushes about the endless books in the palace as he watches her intently. He shyly asks if she, as the Saint of Alnessia, can make some time for him. He reminds her of her duties: prayer, public appearances, and learning healing magic. She looks up from her book and agrees, accepting her responsibilities.
As they sit together, Gilbert softly asks her to watch over him.
Back in the present, a teardrop falls onto a letter. Overwhelmed with emotion, Kate cries out that she can't do it. She resolves to leave before Alice returns, leaving a note of compliance for the king. She bids a silent, final goodbye. With tears in her eyes, she thinks of Lord Gilbert one last time. She firmly grips the handle of her suitcase, her decision made. She struggles to drag the heavy luggage across the floor. Straining, she laments that her favorite book feels so heavy now. She thinks she has already pared down her belongings as much as possible. As she reaches the grand doors, a voice suddenly calls out to her. She turns in shock as the voice declares, "Found." A dark-haired girl confirms that the blue-haired girl is really here as she stands by a suitcase. The blue-haired girl, Kate, apologizes and begs the other girl to pretend she didn't see her. A voice addresses her by her full title, Lady Kate Elizabeth Anderson, daughter of the Duke. Two hands clasp together firmly. The dark-haired girl smiles reassuringly. She promises to help Kate escape and ensure her story has a happy ending. Overcome with emotion, Kate tearfully accepts her help. The dark-haired girl smiles, repeating her promise to help her escape. Kate nervously asks what exactly she is planning. With a wicked grin, the girl declares she'll make sure Kate meets her ruin instead, terrifying her. Kate begs for forgiveness, promising to disappear, but a voice tells her to wait as she looks up in shock.
The dark-haired girl thinks to herself that the real Kate is so beautiful it's unfair. The two girls face each other, the dark-haired one still looking starstruck.
She gushes internally over Kate's translucent skin, gorgeous gray eyes, and cute features, wondering if she's a goddess.
The thought concludes by admiring Kate's beautiful hair color.
Closing her eyes, she touches a lock of blue hair, believing its color is a blessing from the gods.
Kate apologizes for touching the other girl's black hair, admitting she was envious, which makes the girl think what a generous heart she has.
Kate looks down sadly, convinced she isn't fit to be a saintess. The dark-haired girl cheerfully hoists the suitcase, announcing it's time to leave and calling Kate saintess.
Kate's eyes widen in pure shock.
Panicked, Kate waves her hands frantically as the dark-haired girl looks back, asking, "Huh?" The dark-haired girl asks directly if Kate is escaping.
Kate wonders how she knew, and the girl points out that she can't carry such a heavy bag by herself. Looking inside the bag, the girl gasps in horror, shouting, "Books!"
She tries to reason with Kate, acknowledging books are important, but suggesting they leave them for now.
She explains that books are useless for an escape, as they don't provide money and will get her sent back to the castle.
Deciding to repack, she suggests they return to the room, but Kate panics, saying her maid Alice will be back soon.
The girl reassures her it's fine, as they secretly have more time than they think.
She grins, telling Kate to look forward to a super must-ship episode concerning Gilbert.
Kate stands alone in the hallway, looking stunned.
She silently questions the unfamiliar term, must ship.
An explanation reveals the phrase came from another world and became a trend. Kate realizes she's hearing the native pronunciation for the first time.
The dark-haired girl leads the way, proudly stating she memorized the castle blueprints from her fanbook. Kate wonders if knowing the future is the new girl's special ability.
She confirms her suspicion, realizing that must be her power.
The girl stops, announcing that she's just realized something.
She recalls how casually Gilbert and the new saint called each other by name.
Beaming, she formally introduces herself as Ichikawa Sakura.
She warmly invites Kate to just call her Sakura. Sakura says she'll sort her bag and asks Kate-sama to pick out any valuable. Kate readily agrees.
A sudden realization dawns on Kate's face. She shouts, "Wait!" insisting she should be the one to carry the bag after all.
As Sakura opens the suitcase, she can only ask, "Huh?"
The opened case reveals a collection of illustrated cards featuring handsome men.
A close-up shows one of the sparkling cards with two blonde men.
Kate covers her head in horror as Sakura stares at the contents of the bag.
Through tears, Kate thinks it's over now, that Sakura has seen her precious illustrated covers.
She laments that this is exactly why her fiancé got fed up with her. To her surprise, Sakura's eyes sparkle with delight as she declares the collection a treasure trove. Sakura gushes over the handsome men in gorgeous covers, amazed that romance novels exist in this world, and Kate realizes she completely understands.
Two girls gush over a sharp-eyed tsundere character with a kind heart. One girl realizes they're late and must hurry to get ready.
The dark-haired girl happily asks to borrow some books later.
Her friend wants to read them too and fangirl with Kate-sama.
Kate offers her the entire room, saying she can do whatever she wants.
The dark-haired girl is surprised, then declares she's coming with her. She confidently explains she knows how to get the best ending in this otome game world. The story continues in Chapter 4, Escaping from the Prince's Broken Engagement.
In a lavish room, the dark-haired girl pocks a suitcase as Kate watches.
Ah, Kate gasps in surprise.
Kate questions if Sakura-sama is a joke, but Sakura insists she's coming with her. Sakura vows to make the Gil x Kate happy ending a reality. She passionately argues that Kate can't navigate the game's brutal choices without her expertise.
Kate is confused but warns Sakura that leaving means never returning.
Sakura counters by asking if she wants to be with Gilbert.
Kate shouts with conviction, "I do."
Sakura smiles, telling a relieved Kate to leave everything to her.
Thanks to Sakura's disguise idea, the two have successfully snuck outside.
A coachman offers them a ride, which the hooded Kate gratefully accepts. Sakura quickly interrupts, politely declining the offer by saying they prefer to walk. As Kate questions her decision, Sakura explains that taking that specific coach is a trap in the game's Gil-K route that leads to certain doom. Kate realizes the danger and praises Lady Sakura for making the correct choice to take a street carriage instead. The carriage wheel turns as a new conversation begins.
The girl introduces herself as Ichikawa Sakura, an 18-year-old from Japan whose family runs a bakery.
Inside the carriage, Sakura reveals she was hit by a truck. A flashback shows her final moments, realizing she probably died. A concerned Kate murmurs her new friend's name, Lady Sakura. The scene transitions to an image of the castle Urnesia.
Sakura confesses her last regret was being so close to achieving the Gil-K happy ending.
A tearful Kate questions the name Gil-K as Sakura's story is summarized.
The game world is introduced, featuring a protagonist and 8 romanceable characters.
A hidden scenario featuring a rival love interest is shown.
Sakura explains she was overjoyed to find a route for Gil and Kay. Kate thoughtfully tries to accept Sakura's strange story, considering her friend is from another world. A horse suddenly rears up in distress. Whoa! The carriage lurches violently, throwing the two girls together in surprise. Sakura checks on a startled Kate, who says she is all right. Sakura tells Kate to stay inside while she investigates the commotion.
Outside, Sakura stops, shocked by the sight of spilled apples on the road.
She realizes with horror that there's been an accident involving another carriage. Kate rushes out as a man cradles his injured friend, who whispers a name. The injured man reveals their carriage was blown away in a dragon attack. A man asks to put the injured person in their carriage, and Kate readily agrees to help. Sakura turns and asks Kate to lend a hand as well. Kate looks on, hesitant and sweating with anxiety.
Sakura looks on with grim determination, knowing she has to help.
As a memory of the truck flashes, Kate worriedly calls out to Lady Sakura. A man helps his injured companion away, urging him to hold on. The injured man pleads to be left alone, but his friend refuses as a hand grabs his shoulder. Kate apologetically states that it will be difficult to get them both in the carriage together. The man reacts with disbelief, asking if she intends to abandon them. The blue-haired girl begs for no more words. Her plea continues as a man realizes her milk blue hair means she is the one.
A thump sounds as a red-cloaked man falls to the ground, catching the blue-haired girl.
Meanwhile, the scene shifts to Urnesia Castle at dusk. Thump. A gloved hand slams down as a voice demands to know why the Saintess has disappeared. A man with dark hair sighs as a blonde-haired man advises him not to get worked up, certain she's still nearby. The blonde man reminds him that he has always treated Lady Kate with great care. The thought is directed at a nervous-looking Lord Gilbert. The story will be continued. The cover for Chapter 5, Escaping from the Prince's Broken Engagement, is shown. The blonde man continues, saying Lord Gilbert has always cared deeply for and cherished Lady Kate. A memory of a joyful blue-haired Kate flashes by.
Clenching his fist, Gilbert defensively shouts that he sees, asking what's wrong with caring for his own fiancée.
Gilbert covers his face in distress, hoping Kate isn't in danger, believing her beauty is impossible to hide. Meanwhile, the blonde-haired man thinks that Lady Kate's maid also disappeared. The scene shows her empty room with books scattered on the floor, noting she was gone the moment her maid left to call for help. Gilbert holds a note she left, but the blonde man explains the real issue began with the rumor that the black-haired girl
was the new saint, for which he apologizes.
The blonde man recalls his mistake, asking the dark-haired girl if she's the saint, to which she shouted, "Huh? Me?" He concludes it's not a mistake one should make carelessly.
The blonde man is introduced as Joshua, a romance game target from The Path of the Kingdom of Ernesia. Gilbert reaffirms that even with a new saint, his love for Kate would remain unchanged. An unknown person thinks that Lady Kate may have run away because of Lord Gilbert's usual behavior.
In a flashback, Kate tells Gilbert she was baking pastries with the royal pâtissier.
Gilbert sits stiffly in his chair. He blushes, feeling a warm sensation. A close-up shows his gloved hand near his collar. The blonde man observes from behind as Kate explains she remembered he liked them and made them smaller to be easier to eat, which he finds very considerate. Gilbert internally panics, wanting to devour the golden pies, but feeling it would be too shameless. He thinks that if he gets any closer, he'll want to kiss her soft, plump cheeks. Flustered, Gilbert tells her to leave the pastries there, claiming he'll admire them before eating. Kate asks if he knows new flowers have bloomed in the garden, catching him by surprise.
He recalls that the pink roses were planted especially for Kate and is glad she's happy about them.
He thinks about how she delightedly told him the colors were magnificent, completely unaware they were planted just for her. She smiles brightly, suggesting they go together next time. Overwhelmed by her cuteness, he clutches his head and agrees to go next time. A moment of silence passes between them. Kate asks him what's wrong, and he stammers that it's nothing.
She laughs sweetly, saying it's nothing at all.
Back in the present, Joshua smiles, promising that tonight the two of them will have a wonderful time, much to Gilbert's horror. The scene shifts back to a hooded Kate, looking unwell. As their cart rattles, Sakura asks if she's okay, while the driver reassures her they'll be in Misha Town soon.
The driver happily thanks them again for their help.
He recounts thinking he was done for after a dragon attack, until his wounds were suddenly healed, assuming they used a high-grade potion. Kate humbly tells him not to worry about it. The man says he kept her secret as he points out Misha's entrance. He offers to pay for the potion, but Kate and Sakura both refuse. He remarks that she is just like a saint. As he rides off, the man promises to properly thank them next time, since he runs a business nearby. Kate watches him leave, letting out a small sigh. She stands with Sakura, thinking that while her cloak hides her hair, it can't hide her saintly nature. Sakura cheers that they've cleared the first hurdle and suggests heading to an inn, as Kate reflects on the saintly nature she no longer needs. The scene transitions to the warmly lit town at night. Both girls look up in wide-eyed shock. Inside an inn, the keeper explains they can't stay without cash and that jewels aren't appraised there. At the pawn shop, a girl is told it's already closed. We're stuck. Sakura collapses in despair on the floor. Sakura laments that, unlike in the game, inns aren't free in reality. The blue-haired girl apologizes, noting that camping outside is too dangerous. Sakura asks to sleep on the lobby sofa, but the clerk refuses. Standing with their luggage, Sakura wonders what is happening. An elderly woman with white hair appears and asks if they're in trouble.
The girls recognize her, with Sakura calling out, "Eleanor-san."
The clerk explains their penniless situation to Eleanor, who seems concerned. Sakura excitedly realizes the woman must be a baker, surprising her hooded friend. Sakura explains she knew from the scent of wheat, adding that her family also runs a bakery.
What? The two girls react in unison with utter shock.
The woman offers them a room and bread, moving the girls to tears of gratitude. A pink-haired young man explains he can't offer much hospitality due to his early work schedule. As the hooded girl declines, Sakura gets a bright idea. Sakura offers to help, mentioning she's a baker's daughter and that Kate is a master of sweets.
Kate eagerly confirms she's great at making sweets, though she's never made bread.
The elderly woman smiles, thinking their arrival is wonderful.
She reflects that perhaps fate guided them to her bakery.
Yay! Sakura is overjoyed, exclaiming that the bakery is adorable.
The woman asks if she likes it, and Sakura gushes that she loves it. The blue-haired girl marvels that this is her first time visiting a town bakery. She finds the bakery cozy and inviting, just before a voice calls for Grandma. A young man scolds his grandma for being out late, but she dismisses his concerns. He turns his attention to the girls, asking who they are.
Sakura stammers, unsure of how to introduce themselves.
Wait, Sakura has a sudden, sharp realization.
Sakura internally panics, wondering if the handsome man is a hidden character, as Kate explains their situation to him.
Sakura explains their offer to help, which the man confirms with his grandma.
He introduces himself as Clive Scrine, the baker who runs the shop with his grandma.
The hooded girl introduces herself as Kate, inadvertently pushing Sakura aside.
Sakura tearfully introduces herself, pleased to meet Clive. He calmly returns the greeting. Yeah, nice to meet you. Clive invites them to dinner, and Sakura eagerly accepts. Kate offers to help in the kitchen, but Clive says it's just an ordinary one.
Kate fondly observes that Sakura is already fitting right in.
Later, the grandma, Eleanor, asks Kate about her striking hair color.
She directly asks if Kate is hiding her hair for a reason, shocking her.
Has it been discovered? The imposing realization of being found out looms over Kate.
She clutches her cloak, anxiously wondering what she should do.
Kate fears that if Eleanor finds out, she will be sent back to the castle. As Eleanor simply says, "I see," Kate glows with a faint, holy light. Eleanor gently takes Kate's hands, apologizing for startling her.
Eleanor explains that another child, her grandson, also hides his unusual hair color by dyeing it.
She reassures Kate that she must have her own reasons, complimenting her beautiful hair.
Eleanor smiles warmly, holding Kate's hands in a gesture of comfort. Eleanor offers a special reversible hair dye she made for her grandson. The woman kindly says that, of course, she won't force her.
She believes Kate's beautiful blue hair must hold a special meaning for her.
A blue-haired girl in a hooded cloak clasps her hands nervously.
Her wide, worried eyes reflect a deep sadness. She sadly recalls the image of a dark-haired man in a uniform turning his back on her.
An illusion of a delicious meal appears as a dark-haired girl and a pink-haired boy look on with delight.
In a kitchen, the pink-haired boy compliments Sakura on her surprising skill as she beams, glad she could help. An older woman's voice calls out, and Sakura turns, recognizing her grandmother.
An older woman tells them they're lucky to get Clive's famous stew. Beside her stands a girl with long white hair, causing Sakura to shout, "Kei?" The white-haired girl, Kei, asks Sakura what happened to her hair, then immediately explains that someone named Eleanor dyed her own hair, asking if it looks strange. Overwhelmed with emotion, Sakura covers her mouth and thinks, so cute. Sakura internally fangirls over Kei's new silver hair, calling it a god-tier event and an amazing alternate color for her favorite character, wondering where she can send donations. The grandmother smiles warmly, inviting everyone to eat the delicious meal. As she urges them to eat before it gets cold, the white-haired girl, Kei, takes a bite with a happy mmm. At the dinner table, Kei praises the delicious stew, which the grandma attributes to Clive's unique skill. Clive deflects, saying it's only because his grandma never learned the recipe. Sakura smiles happily as she reaches for a piece of baguette. She takes a large bite of the garlic-buttered bread. Her eye sparkles, reflecting her sheer delight in the food. A vision shows Sakura in a modern outfit, happily enjoying the bread. Sakura eloquently praises the bread's perfect crust, crumb, and flavor, surprising Kei with how talkative she is. The grandmother proudly explains the baguette is their signature item that always sells out early, and Sakura agrees it's worth the wait. He agrees the bread is delicious, prompting Sakura to decide she'll ask the grandma for the recipe tomorrow. The grandma reveals she doesn't make the baguettes, leaving Sakura confused as Clive blushes in the background.
Sakura thoughtfully wonders who the baker could be.
Sakura marvels that Clive makes the bread and asks how it's so delicious. She teases his embarrassed face, and he flusteredly tells her to shut up and get ready for work tomorrow. The grandmother and Key share a warm smile.
Clive thinks to himself that the entire place seems to light up whenever Lady Sakura is around. Under the night sky, he quietly wishes he could spend more time with her.
The scene shifts to the bakery at night as a voice calls for Lord Gilbert.
A fantasy image shows a dark-haired man who looks like Gilbert kneeling to offer a massive bouquet of roses to the white-haired Kay.
In a sunny town, Kay walks with the dark-haired man, addressing him as Kay and asking if he's visited a certain cafe.
She continues, explaining that a lady named Eleanor recommended their delicious baked goods.
As the man who looks like Gilbert smiles, she thinks happily that she never expected to experience a day like this again with him.
Key reminds herself to be careful with her words, admitting her own embarrassment.
Lord Gilbert notes her trouble deciding, and she suggests they tried the seasonal scones to make it easier. He describes the scones' perfectly crisp and crumbly texture.
He rambles about some delicious pumpkin scones he recently made, and Key smiles before catching herself, realizing she's acting like an excited fool.
Gilbert watches her with a warm, gentle smile.
He tells her that she's quite good at recommending things. His charming smile is perfectly reflected in her sparkling eye. A memory flashes of a younger, cheerful Gilbert reaching out his hand.
She reflects on how she used to love his cold, composed expression.
Her eyes well up with emotion at the memory.
A beautiful tray of scones and tea is served.
At their table, Key remarks on how fresh the scones look, and Gilbert readily agrees. She watches him, noting that he's about to eat the scone while it's still warm.
As he takes a bite, she feels a sudden, inexplicable wave of fury.
Gilbert declares the scone is delicious and his second favorite thing in town, which confuses Key.
When she questions him, he confirms it's second, saying his favorite is, of course.
He gazes at her meaningfully, causing her to blush in stunned silence.
She thanks him shyly, asking if he's being serious.
He passionately confesses his undying love for croissants, saying he'd eat 100 a day, leaving Key utterly shocked by the revelation.
Giggling, she tells him she's happy to hear it, but can't possibly make that many, as they both share a look, glad for the happy moment.
Kay and the dark-haired man sit together at a cafe table.
The dark-haired man, Gilbert, gazes at her with a bright smile.
Kay looks back at him, her eyes wide with surprise and wonder.
Her brilliant blue eye sparkles, reflecting the night sky. A memory of a younger Gilbert flashes by. He tells her a smile suits her best.
She recalls another memory of a young Gilbert happily holding hands with a blue-haired girl, thinking every moment was precious to her. Kay reflects on how she could never answer the question, "What do you love about him?" She thinks that she fell in love with him simply because he is who he is.
Gilbert's smile fades into confusion as he calls out, "Kay?"
Overwhelmed, Kay begins to cry as she starts to ask what's wrong.
A single, perfect tear rolls down her cheek.
Her eyes overflow with tears that stream down her face. Wah! Gilbert is suddenly startled by her emotional outburst. Wiping her eyes, Kay apologizes, saying the feeling was so strange she couldn't help herself.
She announces she's going home as a concerned Gilbert calls her name.
A massive bouquet of red roses appears as someone begins to ask a question. In a sudden moment, Gilbert kneels before a seated Key, offering her the flowers. Gilbert looks up at her with a sincere, heartfelt expression.
Kay's eyes are filled with tears as she gazes back at him.
The narrator explains this brings them to the present, but a voice suddenly shouts, "Hold it right there." A blonde man in a trench coat interrupts, loudly apologizing for his master's absurd behavior, shocking both Key and Gilbert.
The man, Joan, covers Gilbert's mouth, nervously introducing himself as Lord Mulder's attendant and insisting Gilbert is serious.
Joan promises to apologize later and begins dragging a protesting Gilbert away. Key is left stunned and speechless, still holding the enormous bouquet of roses. She stands alone on the cobblestone path, clutching the flowers.
Later, the blonde man with glasses scolds Gilbert for his reckless and hasty proposal on a first date.
Gilbert quietly reflects on how Kate was.
The blonde man asks if he panicked, but Gilbert denies it, realizing that perhaps
He sadly concludes that he has been making Kate anxious for a long time.
Gilbert reflects that despite his mistake, the day was truly enjoyable.
He wonders when he and Kate last laughed together, realizing he noticed she was lost in thought but never bothered to ask why. He laments that Kate left the castle because she was troubled, but he was too caught up in holding back to see her pain.
Standing alone, Gilbert berates himself for being foolishly caught up in his own excitement.
The blonde man asks if that's why he wanted to reassure her so quickly.
Gilbert angrily slaps the man's hand off his shoulder, causing him to yelp. Ouch!
Clutching his head in frustration, Gilbert asks what he's doing, but the man retorts that Gilbert's own actions are far too extreme.
Gilbert apologizes, explaining the bouquet wasn't meant for a proposal as his attendant stands behind him.
With renewed determination, Gilbert declares he won't pretend anymore and will tell Kate his true feelings. He resolves to properly propose to her again as himself, Gilbert.
The scene shifts to a bakery at night as a shocked voice cries out.
A dark-haired girl panics, grabbing her head and demanding to know why Kay has a massive bouquet. Kay timidly says it was a gift.
The dark-haired girl realizes with a gasp that the flowers must be from Gilbert.
Key quietly confirms it with a soft yes.
The dark-haired girl collapses in despair, realizing she missed a major story event that was supposed to happen on the third date.
The pink-haired boy smiles kindly, telling Kay he's happy for her and asking if the flowers are from the one she loves.
Holding the bouquet, Kay smiles wistfully and agrees.
Yeah, probably. Inside the bakery, Key stands with her flowers, blushing as her friends watch. She thinks to herself that while he gave her the bouquet, he might not have intended for it to be for her.
When the pink-haired boy asks what she means, the dark-haired girl cuts in, telling him not to worry about it. The dark-haired girl thinks that even though they've gone off script, Kay receiving the roses at the cafe is still part of the plan.
Sakura thinks the next date will be a lakeside picnic with a crucial confession, guaranteeing a happy ending.
Sakura excitedly discusses the flowers with Kay, who holds the large bouquet.
Kay suddenly realizes she needs to find a vase for the roses.
The pink-haired boy tells her to use a vase from the kitchen, and Sakura thanks him, calling him Clive. Looking on, Sakura feels a profound sense of relief.
She tells Clive that seeing Key's longtime love finally fulfilled is making her emotional.
He gently comforts her, asking about the happy ending she promised was coming soon. He fondly recalls her vowing that she couldn't die until she saw it happen. Gazing at her earnestly, he says that if it's her wish, he will fully support it too. Stunned into silence by his kindness, she starts to say his name.
She realizes Clive is so wonderful there must be a romance route for him, regretting not checking as he blushes in embarrassment.
Later, Sakura watches Kay sleep, worrying that unexpected elements are popping up even though the main story is on track.
She clutches her book, her expression filled with determination. She silently hopes they can reach the happy ending without any more trouble. A cheerful girl with blonde pigtails strikes a pose and happily greets them. She proudly announces her name is Emily. Emily declares she's their new coworker, leaving Sakura, Kay,
and Clive, utterly shocked.